Good morning, October 20th, 2022, 8:33 a.m. I think you can see we're driving. I will let you know what the fun was. All right, so here's the fun. The other day, I carpooled with my colleagues, I probably told you, to go get my registration tag and all that good news done. Well, it turns out that in this state, they have to inspect the vehicle. Technically, a law enforcement officer must inspect the vehicle to make sure that your vehicle identification number matches, as I said before. Even though I have 3 official documents and the number completely matches. So where am I going today? I'm glad you asked. I'm going back to Key Largo, Islamorada with this device to the same place I went to before. Hang on, a little slow. And I am going to have to get this done. Again, it's going to cost me half of what I thought. This is good news. The problem is, at the rate of speed that I move, it's going to take me about an hour and a half to get there. So that is my time and my money and my gas to do a 3-hour trip, 3.5-hour trip. So I thought I would take you along the way a little bit. Queso's right here. He's in the seat. I had to turn the AC off. It was down to 66. And this man was shivering. So I'd even turn the air conditioning off in the rig. So, you know, he's old, so we got to deal with it. I find 66 degrees to be wonderful. People who have been in this state for a while have said to me, 66 degrees, they start to shiver. That hasn't happened to me yet, so I will take it as it stands. Okay. So, we did our daily rune poll. It was, believe it or not, the rune for strength, okay, which we've read before. And, you know, our Zen poem today was mainly focused on something to the effect of paying attention and observation. And so, watching a couple of videos this morning over my coffee, I decided that's going to be our conversation today while we drive around the Everglades a little. Peers, everybody seems to like the Everglades drives. So, I figure we'll do it. I see a sign that says mowing crews ahead, so maybe we'll see them. I just saw an osprey grab some stuff for a nest, which I thought was kind of cool and groovy, right? So what we're going to do, yeah, I know the wipers are going, I had a little schmutz on the windshield. So we're going to talk about observation, okay? We're also going to have another sidebar conversation called Do It Yourself. Okay, so the first one is observation. The observation conversation is that I am getting a lot of noise from a lot of people in a lot of places. That's Christian Point to your right, which is full of water, which either means mosquitoes or hopefully birds. Crocodile will be in there too. The observation idea is that we're getting a lot of static. People are telling us things that simply aren't true. Or they're doing the thing that makes me the most annoying. They are changing the definitions of things. So what I'm getting a lot of is, well, that's not how it's defined this way. Well, that's funny, for the last 400 years it's been defined that way. I hate when people cheat. I hate when their goalposts get moved because they're not winning the game on their own standing. Right? I don't like it. It irritates me. So my message is to use what another one of my good valued friends has talked about, and I'm sure we've talked about in the past, is to use something called face validity. Okay? What that means is that when you are out somewhere and you're looking at something, you're observing something, right? You know, you have to listen to what they're saying and then use face validity in order to see, technically it's test, that what they are saying and what you are seeing match up. So if they're telling you X and you are out there looking around and X isn't happening, have to trust your face validity at that moment and say, okay, what I'm experiencing is reality. What they are telling me is not reality. And so I'm going to believe what my senses bring me instead of what I am being told. Because I know that the people that are telling me things very often are changing the definitions of words or saying something for their benefit and not mine. Very important to think on this. Very important. Now, the sidebar is do it yourself. You know, my mom used to say, just do it yourself. If you know you're out of your depth, hire someone and pay them to do it. But all other things that you normally do it yourself. And I'm reminded by, again, more Christian point on the side there, I'm reminded by this, okay, because if I would have gone on Monday all by myself, driven the RV all by myself, with queso, of course, you know, and made it over there, then the little surprise that I found out would have just been a small bump on the road, instead of it being a huge bump on the road. So I have got to say, hey Mom, you were right one more time. If I would have just done it by myself, this would be done by now. So that's my encouragement to you. Do it yourself. Know your limitations. Know what you can and cannot do. Know where you need to draw that line for yourself and then move forward. Okay? Very, very important. Right now, I've got to take, I don't know, I'm not sure if it's a 80-mile trip or a 90-mile trip. I'm not sure which, because I didn't do it myself. Now, I could go to the tag agency in town, a little closer. But the last time I was there, that was a 2-hour wait. This one, it should be 0. I should just be able to walk right in, boom, and I'm done. Okay? That's what I am anticipating. Remember, what you anticipate and what you get are two different things. However, they were very, very empty, and it is the end of the week, so and I'll be there probably earlier than I was when I left before. So I'm not unhappy by this. I'm going to make the absolute best out of this, for sure. However, I also know that this trip could have been saved if I would have just done it myself. See, even my mom will come back to me and teach me the same lesson over and over, because obviously I'm not too bright. And sometimes I forget things. What I was actually doing is trying to be nice to other people. And we know how that usually ends up, don't we? Especially in 2022. Learned my lesson. It's not a bear to move this girl. You know, even if I would have had a tow vehicle and I would have gone out myself, I still would have been in the same situation. However, I would have done it myself, and I would not have used anybody else's time, material, gas, energy, you name it. That is what really burns my onion right there, is that these people they were going that way anyway. I still wasted their time, and that makes me irritable, because time is the total capital of your world. You know, you get 86,400 seconds every day. You have to make the absolute most of it. Queso is now stopped shivering since I turned the very slow AC off. I shut the vents on his side, I opened the vents on my side, and I'm running it on vent. So, 66 is a little cool for him, especially when he's not in the sun. So we are at Snakebite, which is great to walk around and pretty for birds. We've already passed Rowdy Bend, and we already passed Mrazek Pond. You saw that on the side. I am not going to push today. I'm moving, the speed limit is 55, those are vultures. I am moving at, I don't know, 50? 50 sounds right. And, yeah, nope, some American crows mixed in too. There you go. Sometimes when they mow, it brings the critters out. You know, they'll hit a snake or something. Not that they want to, they just can't see it. And then, you know, the vultures and the crows and the ravens get to feast. So, it's all right. So, there's my messages for you guys today. Do it yourself. Know your limitations. Know where you need to get help. And remember, pay for that help. Take nothing for free. You only get what you pay for. Alright? If you're going to work together with like-minded people who share your values and they have skills to offer, make sure you have a skill that goes right back to them. Because if they're fixing your air conditioner, you better be canning pickles or cooking ground beef or something. Right? You have to do this. If it can't be a one-way street. And the other one is, again, observation. You know, use those skills that were given to us, gifted to us, hopefully. Maybe you have to learn it the hard way, like I am today, you know? But gifted to you. Common sense. Critical thinking. Simple math. Definitions of words that don't slide around based on the emotion of the moment. Okay? Don't be afraid to quietly say, no, that doesn't follow, that doesn't track, okay? I'll give you a situation. This is Westlake, by the way, one of my favorite places. Okay? I will give you a situation where I was told at work that I'm not going to work 5 8-hour days. I'm going to work 4 9-hour days instead, and I get 3 days off, and I'm supposed to clap for that. And I'm like, okay, let's do some simple math. 8 times 5 is 40. 9 times 4 is 36. That's 4 hours of pay that I don't get. Which means that every week you remove a day's worth of pay from me, and I'm supposed to be pleased by this. Sounds a little jerky. So I'll have to have that talk with my business manager or my general manager, and I'll have to explain to them. Oh, by the way, I told you Friday I'm only working like 8 to 1 because I worked too much overtime the other day. Yeah, that's because it was raining and we couldn't go real quick in the boat and take it across the bay. So by the time we were all done, it was almost an hour late. Every evening is usually 15 to 20 minutes of overtime for me. I was told if you're working on the boat, gassing it up, cleaning it, then your overtime is covered. Now I'm hearing you have too much. Well, every action has an opposite reaction, common sense. If this is a problem, I will ask my supervisors and say, is this a real problem? If you're not going to improve my overtime, then at 5 o'clock, I go. Bye. Oh, isn't that pretty? You know, after the last person gets off that boat, if it's 5 o'clock, I'm going to be right behind them. I'm going to go in, swipe my finger, make sure that I'm checked out for the day, get myself a soda, and then off I go. But the boat's not clean. Okay. But the boat doesn't have any gas in it. Okay. Yeah. Well, I guess I'll be back and we'll do it tomorrow. Well, you can't just leave it like... Okay, is my overtime approved? Because it's 5 o'clock. It's time to go. You can't have it both ways. That will probably make them a little irritable, and that's okay, because I've said it one more time to the cheap seats and the guy behind the fire hydrant. I am not the American Red Cross. I don't volunteer for anything. I work, you pay me. And I encourage each and every one of you to look at that as well. Oop, there's another crow. You know, if you are working in any capacity for anything, and they are asking you to put in additional time or energy or thought or anything else, and they are not going to compensate you in some fashion, then the answer must be no. It's not. Somebody said it's quietly quitting. I said, okay, kind of. And the other one I said is it's not quite quietly quitting. It is we're going to draw solid boundaries around our time. So yesterday I took all that time. I took on a project of my own accord and volition. Nobody asked me to do it. And I finished it yesterday. And I'm going to give it to the people at work. I'm going to go, here you go. Okay. You got it. That's Noble Hammock on your right. Okay. You know, I finished the work. It's all done. Okay. After this, there are no other projects. I took this one on willingly. You guys are paying me overtime, so I didn't mind coming home and playing this game and having a little intellectual stimulation. But I thought that now, given the way that we're playing with our schedules, I thought it was critical to finish any work project that may have been on my plate by my own hands or another. And that's okay. Now what they're going to do is they're going to realize that if they want me another day to cover for somebody, it's going to be, well, that's overtime, right? That's approved overtime, right? No, it's straight time. We'll just, no. If it was 8 and 5 and it was my 6th day, well, then that's different. But no, you can't do that. So the answer will be that I will be unavailable. Have I already started the process of remote work? Yes, I told you this. All I have to do is sign up for a single job, and to qualify, I will be very easily qualified. It's not a big deal, right? And then it's all of that extra time, that extra day now becomes money. My time becomes money, even if it pays for my internet. If one day pays for my internet service for a month, I'm already broken even. So these are nice people, and I'm sure that these decisions are being made, most unfortunately, above their heads. And they're just the bearer of the bad news. And so I am not angry with them in any way, shape, or form. What I will say is that I told them when I started in April, do not play with my time, do not play with my money, specifically my time. And if they're going to play, then I will play with them. They have to know what the consequences of doing that will be. Well, Carl, we might have to call you in an emergency. I'm unavailable. Why? Because you're not going to pay me the overtime for coming in on time that I am no longer doing. So you don't, that's 9 Mile Pond, by the way, you don't get it. You know, plus I just got converted to a full-time employee. I said within 14 days I have to go on here and do this. That's fine. I will be happy to do that. However, there was no negotiation of salary or payments or anything else. They're just going to slide me up a scale, and they don't realize that to even cover the cost of inflation alone, plus having to pay now out of pocket for things like healthcare and things like that, that my salary has to rise. It can't be some, well, magical, bullet point, because now I'll be expending more and getting less, and that is not going to work. And although I don't need a whole lot, I don't want to be greedy, I want to be even-handed with everything. The money, the time, my efforts. I want to give 100% of what I can do. The learning, the application of that learning, I want to do that. It's very important. Okay? I ask all of you to do the same. Invest that time, do that deep thinking, use that common sense. I mean, most of us, let's face it, we were taught math at a kitchen table with pennies and dimes. So we know how it all works. And we have enough critical thinking skills, and we can do enough simple math in our heads that we know when somebody is trying to play with a number or a definition or a whatever. That's why you guys are like-minded, share values, and we have something to offer. Because we are probably, and this came to me in my coffee this morning, right, Queso? We are probably the last of a very dying breed. And I was a little scared thinking this morning, what happens when we're gone? What is the replacement for this? You used to want to have kids so that they would have an easier life and they would go on to more success than you had. And everything tells me that the generation behind me, even half a generation behind me, is a failure, an absolute failure. By the way, that's Poroides Pond. Poroides Pond is one of the great, Mrazek Pond, Eco Pond, right, and Poroides Pond. Incredible world-class birding. People come here from all over the world to simply go watch the birds. Okay? So again, what are we going to get, when we're gone, what are they going to do? And the answer is, I have absolutely no idea. And it's a little scary. For those of you who have children, for those of you who don't know, I do have children. And stepchildren. I think they're gone. I think they're really, really gone. I don't think they're going to make it. Great egret right there. They're not going to make it. I think many of them have drank the Kool-Aid. Another great egret. Many of them have drank the Kool-Aid, and they're not going to make it. There are plenty of children out there and young adults. They have to live in different places. Dare I say that it has to be the color of a shorter wavelength on the angstrom scale, okay? With these manners, and we're taught, good ways of living. I told you guys before, I was 4 years old. I was trusted, and that made me feel like a big boy, to carry the pickles downstairs and put them in the basement that my grandmother had just canned. And I am sorry that I didn't have the opportunity to learn from her, and I had to learn all by myself. My mother did something different. She did a lot of freezing stuff, and I did learn that. However, I also know she didn't like canning because you could lose stuff, break stuff. It was messy. The freezing was a lot easier for her, but she was also rotating her stock constantly. She was always using stuff. So I went, hey, that makes a lot of sense. But I think I'm just kind of wobbling around language-wise. And this video's gone on way too long. I do not want this to be a downer. I want this to be have a beautiful Thursday. Have an amazing day. Learn a new skill. Use that critical thinking. Use your common sense. Do it yourself. The rewards are endless. Endless. And today, I am going to do it by myself. And guess what? I now have a way higher. Can you see the bird? Look at the bird. Look at the bird. There it goes. I have a way higher success rate because of this. Not that it wasn't enjoyable to be with some other people. When you're with other people, you got to be careful. Great blue heron. The D word shows up. Drama. So you got to be careful of that. Okay? Today's chances of success look like the sky in front of you. Beautiful. And that's what I want for all of you today. I want you to look at that sky while I'm driving, and I want you to have that level of success and realize that sky is the limit for those of us who are like-minded, who share values, and have things to offer each other. I'm going to turn this off because we're not going to hit anything for a while, and you've already been on this ride with me. Upward to your personal, mental, physical, and emotional success today. Casey and I are out. See you tomorrow.